Welcome in everybody to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is Q&A Live. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia. With me, north of the border, Joe Orrico. And we both got our Blue Jay shirts on. Yay, go Blue Jays! That's right, they're playing right now. Beating up on the White Sox. Well, I'm beating up. They're down. They're down right now. The score just changed. It's 2-1. But still, there's plenty of time. We had Tyler Glasnow make his return. Pretty good start. We're going to talk about that. We're going to take your questions. Drop them here in the chat. Remember, if you super chat, you go right to the front of the queue. VIP. We take out the velvet ropes. We let you walk through, ask you a question. We answer your question. And then we let you get in the club and have fun. And, just don't hang out with P. Diddy in the VIP room. Joe Orrico, you were just talking before the show here about how excited you are. You got all the feels about the Blue Jays, and I think that that's fantastic because it makes the fantasy season a little bit better when the team you root for is good. And there's some organizations like the Yankees and the Braves and the Dodgers that are good every single year, so you kind of take it for granted. But I'm a Mets fan and a bit of a loser in that sense. And you, my friend, are a Blue Jays fan who has had certainly your share of pain over your lifetime. So this is a nice change of pace for both of us this season.
It's been phenomenal to watch. I mean, in my life as a Blue Jay fan, there have been a couple of good teams, but not a lot to really cheer about. I loved watching Roy Halladay, some good Vernon Wells years growing up, sure, whatever. That's how deep I have to dig into the well as a Blue Jay fan to go back and look at some Vernon Wells seasons. But no, this is the best team the Jays have fielded since 2016. And it's weird because on paper you wouldn't look at it and think, well, this is a first place team. They've just gotten great contributions from everybody. Some guys like Barger and Clement and Nathan Lucas. There's been so many great contributions up and down the lineup. Pitching needs some help, but 10 in a row, baby. 10 in a row.
10 in a row. Sean right here with a super chat kicking things off. Harper for Mize, 12-team roto. Which side you got?
I have Harper 7 days a week and twice on Sunday.
We're talking about Bryce Harper, bro? Like
what other Harper? It's got to be.
I don't know. That's why I'm trying to rack my brain because sometimes like I'm missing something or I'm going back and forth between NFL shows and MLB shows this time of year. My brain starts to meld over. There's no way I don't want the Bryce Harper side of this trade. It's not even close. There's another trade that happened here early in the chat. I want to grab it here because I love this one. It was TK. Dudes, I just traded away Bubic for Cease after one of your sell high videos. Did I mess up? No. If I could tell you in the beginning of the year, you would get Dylan Cease for Kris Bubic. You've got all the best out of Kris Bubic. And Dylan Cease has an 11.19 K per 9. He has an expected ERA of 3.52. That's a full run lower than his ERA. His walk rate is lower than it was last year, right about in that same now. His FIP is at 3.4. His XFIP is 3.38. I love this trade. To me, this is getting out before Kris Bubic starts to get tired.
I think it's a fantastic trade. I was just before we started listening to Spore and Nick talk about Dylan Cease, and everybody's in on him. Everybody believes that he is going to bounce back, and the data is very solid for him, like you laid out. The ERA stinks, sure, 4.62, but that's kind of what you signed up for with Dylan Cease. There are going to be ups and downs in terms of the ERAs. If you look at the last 3 seasons, 220, 458, 347. He can kind of give you anywhere in that range. But the data this year is as good as it's ever been. The walk rate at 8.6% is fantastic. That was always the thing with Dylan Cease. He walks too many batters. He's got that in check. The strikeouts are still there. Yeah. The Sierra at 3.39 is the best of his career. Stuff is still good. Everything is still good. And on the other side of that, Kris Bubic, as much as I love him, he's at 103 innings. Last year was 30. The year before was 16. Actually, it was higher than that last year because he had some minor league innings. But we are getting to a point. We're getting to a point with Bubic where it's like, well, the Royals stink. The Royals are not going to be doing much probably down the stretch. As much as the American League is a little bit weak, whatever, they're not a great team. They're not going to be making the playoffs. So once we get to September, I don't know how much they're going to really let Bubic go out there. He might get crocheted, and you might get 3 or 4 inning starts at the end of the year.
No, you're right. And Lugo's probably going to get dealt, and they're just shut Bubic down. Look, we talked last week about Bubic. We talked last week about Clay Holmes. We talked about Drew Rasmussen. And it was quite prophetic because if you saw what's happened here this week, you saw Clay Holmes again with 5 walks, just 5 innings pitched. You saw Drew Rasmussen getting piggyback with Joe Boyle. So I know Ryan asked before what I do with Dylan Cease. You hold on to him, or if you don't have him, you acquire him. That's what you do right now. I see Lee in the chat, lots of our friends here. Ryan's got another question too. Is Jose Quintana a solid pickup? He pitched 6 innings of shutout ball with 2 hits versus the Dodgers today. Look, Quintana's always one of these guys. He's a better real life pitcher than he is a fantasy pitcher. He's not going to give you strikeouts. He's pitching on a good team. I think the Brewers are a good team. Like I think in a deeper league, it's fine. Like you play your matchups with him, but like I'm not looking for a whole lot here from Quintana because historically he is not a guy that's going to give you a lot of strikeouts. Like I said, real life pitching, yeah, fantasy pitching, 2-start week matchup play in a deeper league. That's about my threshold for him. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, I think he's fine if you're picking your spots as a streamer. I don't think anybody would have expected this kind of production against the Dodgers, but you can't look at his numbers below the surface and feel any kind of comfortable rolling him out there. 3.44 ERA is solid, but it comes with a 139 whip. 15% strikeout rate is brutal, especially with a 10% walk rate. The stuff isn't great. So I think if you're picking your spots as a streamer, it works, and he's been pretty consistently good now, but once you start trusting a guy like Quintana, it's like earlier in the year when you started trusting Patrick Corbin or Chris Paddock, and you know who these guys are, and they'll go on these good runs, but eventually they are going to come back and burn you.
So today, Tyler Glasnow made his return. 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 0 earned runs, 3 walks, so you don't love that, but 5 strikeouts. Velocity was good. He threw 85 pitches. It looks like a pretty good outing against a pretty good Brewers team. It was on the road, too. I think you'll like what you saw. I acquired Glasnow in a trade in my home league a couple weeks ago. Traded a bunch of young pieces, trying to get the expensive and befuddling Tyler Glasnow for a stretch playoff run. And I'm very happy with that acquisition because today certainly looked like a step in the right direction, Joe.
Yeah, just looking at his breakdown on Baseball Savant, he had 9 whiffs on 85 pitches. Velocity was up across the board. His 99.5-mile-an-hour fastball was the hardest pitch he'd thrown since 2021. A lot of good stuff here. A lot of promising returns from Tyler Glasnow. This is the time to maybe throw out an offer for him and see if you can get him before we get another start where he is ramping back up and maybe we get
I think
10
that window's
strikeouts.
Closed. I think that window was in June where he was just, futtering around, if that's even a word. Just in minor league rehab starts and people were just waiting and waiting. I think he comes up, he pitches well, and people are like, okay, well, I waited this long, I want to see. Now, maybe somebody's super frustrated because they don't want to have him get hurt again. That would be very Tyler Glasnow-esque. To get hurt again when it's not outside the realm of possibilities. This is from Yoseb Lee. Any hopes for Chris Sale? Yeah, mid to late August. That's my hope for Chris Sale. I mean, that's where we're at. The Braves are sellers for the first time. It feels like, I don't know, since the 90s, since like 1990. Is this like the first time the Braves? Seriously, think about it. Like the Braves had that run in the 90s with the 3 pitchers, right? Chipper Jones and all that crap. And then I had to live through the Ronald Acuna years and Freddie Freeman years. I mean, the Braves have been sellers for like 30 years. So they're sellers this year. Eventually, Chris Sale will come back. It's not an arm issue. It's just a matter of you need time for him to feel comfortable throwing the ball with the rib. I mean, I feel mid to late August is your best case scenario. So let's say mid to late August, that gives you 5 or 6 starts from Sale. That's what you're talking about. Do you care about having 5 starts from Chris Sale? Can you get to the playoffs and into whatever you need to? Do those 5 starts matter enough? That is the question you have to ask yourself. It's half a dozen at best probably starts from Sale. And in my opinion, if somebody's going to offer you something that's going to help you over the next 3 months, you take it. What do you think, Joe?
Absolutely, because a lot of players, I'm a big roto player, but I recognize that that's not really the standard. Most people are in points or head-to-head categories, and those seasons end even a couple weeks earlier. They'll end the first or second week of September. So that window for Chris Sale to have 5 or 6 starts, you might only get 3 of them, So I think if you're getting a decent offer for him, you should take it.
Our producer, Seth, who's fantastic, he's like the only person that actually listens to me. I've got 2 teenage daughters. It's like nobody listens to me. Futter is not a word, but it is an Urban Dictionary word. But don't worry, kids. It's actually not like a weird thing. It's the act of saying an epic joke in your head, but when you actually say it, you stutter like Porky Pig. So that feels almost kind of accurate from this conversation here. Thoughts on Yandy Diaz? I don't have any thoughts on Yandy Diaz. Do you? What's your thoughts on him?
He's phenomenal. He was one of my most drafted players. He's great asset. The power's come along quite a bit. The barrel rate's a career high, hard hit rate's a career high. That ballpark certainly helps. Yeah. And he's hitting like 400 over the last month. So you're getting exactly what you paid for.
Getting out of that ballpark was important for. Yandy's one of these guys I feel like, you look at him, you're like, why don't you hit for more power? Just physically you look at him. So, yeah, you're just keeping them, man, at this point. That's what you're doing. Let's go with some more questions here. Boy, we got a lot today. This is great to see. Joe G, Bieber for Wilyer Abreu. Who you want, Wilyer Abreu or Bibee? Who do you want rest of season?
Oh, Joe, I think I'm going to have to go Wilyer Abreu at this point.
Yeah, I think
Bibee's
so too.
been awful.
Terrible.
Bibee's been really bad, but he's also a tough guy to just straight up cut, but I think we're getting there.
Well, it might be a trade. So, I mean, if you got pitchers. Thunder Stud, thanks for the super chat. Luzardo or Pajes, 16-team Dynasty League. Who'd you rather have? Ooh, I like Pajes long term. You know, Luzardo, I think, is one of these guys that's going to go up and down a little bit. I think he showed you that already this year. It's what he's shown you in his whole career. So I'm tempted about Luzardo, but I always like position players more than pitchers. And
Yeah, I think the 24-year-old breakout power speed in the Dodgers lineup, hitting for average, I think it'd be hard to go against Pajes, you know.
All very good points.
Yeah.
TK, when Bregman comes back, I have to drop Barger or Cam. What do I do? That's a tough one here.
Cam Smith, I'm assuming. Jeez, that's brutal.
I think you got to trade. I think they both have trade value right now. Well, Cam Smith's trade value is at its peak right now.
Yeah.
And you suffer through some bad months, I would trade Cam. And then I like Cam, but I would trade Cam. That's what I would do. Yeah. And he qualifies in the outfield too, so
they both do.
Help you out.
They both do. Well, depending on the format. I mean.
Like you have, but Barger, I don't think you want to get rid of right now. He's been solid. Cody, should Eovaldi be worthy of a Cy Young? No, because he missed a couple weeks.
There's too many strong American League pitchers this year. It's so like I've been on the big Jacob deGrom train, blah blah blah, and he's going to finish like 5th or 6th in Cy Young voting just because there's Skubal, there's Fried, there's Hunter Brown, there's Crochet. I mean, Joe Ryan sneaking up into that mix, 2.76 ERA, 0.89 WHIP. It is Skubal. At the end of the day, it's Skubal. Unless there is an injury, it's going to be Tariq Skubal's in back-to-back years. Yeah.
Lee G, since he started pitching, Ohtani's hitting his stats have gone down. No kidding. Just a small slump, or are we concerned this pitching work is taking away from his hitting? I'm concerned. I think it's a lot. This is going back to the Tom House thing I talked about in leading off. And everybody, at first, once again, people don't like when Joe tells the truth here. And by that, Joe, I mean me. But when Tom House says it, I think you should listen to him too. Because this is a guy who has been working with Nolan Ryan. He has worked with Drew Brees and Tom Brady. He is like the king of arm mechanics. And when he says, we're in a spot here where I'm concerned about the fatigue level of this person doing this, especially ramping up in season, I think it's worthy of listening. And guess what? He's struggling with. I'm not freaking out. I'm not trying to trade Ohtani, but I'm not surprised either, Joe.
I just don't know what we even mean by struggling, though. Like, he came back on the 16th. So he's played 21 games as a position player since he started pitching again. He's got 6 homers and a 140 WRC plus. Is that struggling? I don't know. His OPS in that time is 867. Yeah, the batting average is a little bit low, but maybe there's something.
But struggling for Ohtani, I guess.
For Ohtani, I understand it in theory. I just think he is on such another level, and throwing a couple innings here and there isn't going to take away from him so much. If they start throwing him 5-6 innings, maybe that's when I start to worry. But as of right now, I mean, if somebody's panicking about Ohtani in your league, I would trade for him in a heartbeat. Angelo's
afraid of the Marlins. No, you start Abbott tonight. I don't care. I don't care. Abbott's been great. He's earned it. You start Abbott tonight. Raphael, should I drop Clay Holmes in a league with K's, ERA, WHIP, quality starts? Yeah, because I don't think quality starts. And K Walk is going to be his friend. Like, he's not a big strikeout pitcher to begin with. He's a 5-inning limited pitcher rest of season. Depends on what's out there, but yeah, I would drop him, Joe. How about you?
Well, we're kind of reaching the point with him too where I don't know how many more innings he's going to really be able to throw. 63 in each of the past 3 years. He's at 98, and we're starting to see him slow down a little bit. The strikeout rate is down, the WHIP is up, the ERA is still at 3.29, but all those ERA estimators come in the low to mid 4s. So this is the time to maybe not panic with him, but if you can sell Clay Holmes for anything right now, I'd be doing it.
Absolutely the time to sell Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes right now, 3.29 ERA, 4.16 expected, 4.26 FIP, 4 xFIP. Look, winter's coming for Clay Holmes. It's just sell. We told you last week. We've been saying it on the show. Sell. Sell Gunnar Henderson? No. Unless you're getting bowled over with an offer. But Gunnar Henderson is one of the more interesting buys. He has been underwhelming. He hasn't been worthy of his draft stock. He and Julio, I think, probably the biggest first-round disappointments. Would you agree? Right? Like, those are the two guys.
Mookie too, probably, but yeah.
I guess. But Mookie, I mean, it wasn't like there were warning signs with Mookie, Mookie was, he had lost all that weight. We were worried about him going into the year. I faded Mookie big time after that. I was really worried that something was wrong there. I'm not selling Gunnar unless I can get some really good value for him, but I understand if you're kind of looking at it like you have to look at the second half and say, if Gunnar has a big second half, then, I can get by, I can get to the playoffs, I can become relevant in the standings again. You have to think, what am I getting that's better than Gunner's second half potential? I think that's the question you have to ask yourself.
Yeah, I think I'd need, like, at worst, the second or third round value to get rid of him. A lot of the data is still strong. I would need to be kind of blown away to get rid of him, I think.
All right, let's take a look at Big Dance's trade. Devers, Lindor, and Vinny and Castellanos. There's a lot of people here. For Vlad, Caminero, and Terang. So what side do you want to be on? Man, I mean, I love Caminero, but it seems like you're getting a little bit more. I mean, it's like kind of bodies for quality here.
Devers, Lindor, Vinny,
You know what?
Castellanos. It's
I think
close.
the best two pieces are Vlad and Caminero. So I'm just going to say Vlad and Caminero.
Devers, Lindor, Vinny, Castellanos. Yeah, I think I would take that side, but I think it's pretty fair. I think it's pretty fair on both ends.
It's a little bit more volume for a little less talent, but not extraordinary less talent. Although Rafael Devers stinks since he's gone to the San Francisco Giants. Can we talk about that for a second?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean,
he's been brutal.
Life with Fife, Ginkel or Ronnie Enriquez? Well, it's a good thing you're asking this question because Welsh and I had a big conversation on the Waiver Wire show that comes out tomorrow about these two guys. I don't want to sway Joe Orrico. So, Joe, which way do you go between Ginkel and Enriquez?
I'd probably go with the Gink man. I mean, he has a little bit more experience in the role. It's a better team, at least for now, until they sell everything. I think I'd go with Ginkel.
It's tough for me. I think Enriquez is the better pitcher, so I think I'm just going to go there because I don't know what the Diamondbacks are going to do. You never know with them. I don't trust the Diamondbacks when it comes to the bullpen. Here's one. Would you trade one Mookie, round one Mookie for round 22 CJ Abrams, 10-team Brodo?
Yes.
That's interesting. I think
Yeah,
so.
I would do it. Keeping Mookie in the first at his age, was he 32, 33 with the declining production versus essentially a free CJ Abrams? I think you got to make that switch.
Projections for you, Darvish. Let me rub my bald head and come to it. I don't know. 50 innings and a 4.5 ERA. I think that's where we're at here with you, Darvish. I don't know what's left in the you, Darvish tank. I really don't at this point.
Yeah, I'll say that's probably about right in terms of innings. 50 innings of maybe you can get a 4 ERA out of him with a decent whip because whips have always been pretty solid from him. Let's call it 50 innings, 4 on the dot with a 1.2 ERA.
4 on the dot.
Or with a 1.2 whip. 1.2 whip, sorry, not 1.2 ERA.
I've got 4 ERA is kind, I think.
You think so?
Let's go to Cody here. I think so. I don't think you Darvish is going to the 6th, 7th inning much at this stage in his career. Cody, any thoughts on Jackson Merrill? Yeah, he's been disappointing. He did have a bigger second half last year. They did drop him in the batting order yesterday too, which I thought was overdue. It's your classic sophomore slump. I still like the player. I think he played a little over his head last year, I'll be honest. I was not buying him as a second round pick. I got 0 shares of him. So I didn't like the ADP going in, but I don't want to say, well, look at me, I'm so smart. To me, you got to do a little bit more before you earn second round value, as good as he was last year. But I think he's better than he's shown you this year. I think injuries have been the biggest problem. He had the injury before, then he came back and he had the concussion. That takes a long time sometimes for these guys to come back from that kind of stuff. I would want to acquire Jackson Merrill in the cheap, though. That's where I would be.
If it's a dynasty league or even a redraft league, you should be trying to get him on the low because I agree this is more just a sophomore slump. The barrel rate's still 11%. The hard hit rates come down a little bit. I think the main thing is he's just kind of pressing. He's swinging more. The swing percentage is almost 60%, which is really high. He's chasing almost 40% of the time. The zone contact is down. He's making less contact in the zone, and he's swinging and missing more. So I think this is just simply he saw what he did last year, 24 homers, 16 steals, and he's trying to force himself into being able to replicate that when things just aren't coming easy to him right now. But the data isn't like Michael Harris or anything close to it, to invoke Joe's favorite player. I think that he is still going to be fine, but yeah, that second round price is looking really bad. Uncle
Joey to give you the biggest bust of 2025, and then he delivers the biggest bust of 2025 in all of our draft coverage. Why are people mad at me? You would think they'd be grateful.
Tip my hat to you for that call.
You would think they'd be grateful. Who's a player in the top 50 that's going to stink? That guy. And then I'm right, and then people are unhappy. They should be thrilled that I was right about it.
They're not thrilled because they took him in their draft.
Well, why did they? Well, why do you ask me the question? Who's the biggest bust? Why do we do all these goofy shows in February and March with these bust themes? And who's your biggest? Every show that had a bust in it had me talking about Michael Harris.
Yeah.
And I don't know what people. What are we doing? What are we doing here? All right, life with Fife. Waiting for Cags to turn things around. Should I pick up Christian Walker off waivers? Well, Walker's on the paternity list right now, which makes me wonder if that is. I didn't realize that his wife was pregnant. We forget they're actually people. I wonder if the big transition to Houston with the pregnant wife and the whole thing has just been a really stressful thing, and maybe that's why he struggled this year. Like his brain is just not like focused, and that's fair. I mean, that's a lot of real life stuff. I'd want Christian Walker as much as I love Cags, and it's great to see him in a home run yesterday. It was awesome. Yeah. I'd want Christian Walker rest of season. How about you?
I think it's really close. I might just default to Walker because the lineup is so much better. Kansas City's lineup is atrociously bad, so I might go with Walker. I thought they put him on the paternity list because they found out that he was the Dodgers' daddy. Because, my God, does he ever own the Dodgers, man? It's like 8 straight games at Dodger Stadium. He's hit a long ball. But yeah, good for him having a kid. Congrats to Christian Walker.
Yeah, that's all you need. You know, have good games against the Dodgers, have a kid. That's all you need. Maybe you could also use a Juan Gonzalez jersey from Pristine Auction. Well, it's available. All you got to do is subscribe to FantasyPros MLB, drop your comments below, ring the bell till it goes ding, and like this video. It's very important. Right now, if you're watching live, like the video, click that thumbs up, and you might win this Juan Gonzalez jersey. Again, autographed by Going Juan himself. A classic if you're into early 90s baseball. And if you're watching this, there's a good chance you are. All right, Robert's question is next. Realistic expectations for Cam Schlittler. All right, so he's going tonight at home in New York, making his big league debut against the Mariners of Seattle. So Evans on the other side. So Schlittler line, I'm going to say, again, rubbing the head, right? Let's go 4 2/3, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, 2 earned runs, and I'll go 4 hits. 4 hits. That's my Schlittler line tonight. What say you?
That sounds about right, yeah. 4
a little mixed bag. A little bit of everything.
Let's call it 5 innings with...
Ooh, 5.
He's facing the Mariners. I'd say 4 strikeouts because they're not a team that has like a crazy high strikeout rate. I would say 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, 3 hits, or 4 and change. Maybe he doesn't get the 5, but I think it's a good opportunity for him to make his debut against a team like Seattle. It's not a tough matchup for him. So I think he's going to do pretty well.
I kind of want to change my home run call, but I feel like if I do, I'm going to get the other guy that I moved off of will hit a home run.
Always how it works.
So I'm just going to leave it alone. Cody says Strasburg never left Dark Joe. No, he never did. No, he did. Stuck there forever. Is he like, trying to think, Dwight Gooden, Steven Strasburg, like those are the guys that come to mind where I think like what the potential for legendary status could have been for those 2 guys that just never was. Does anybody else like enter that sphere for you of the guys that were so special but just could never stay healthy or could never stay right?
Going to your neck of the woods, Matt Harvey pops into my mind. To not go to too sad of a note, but Jose Fernandez was going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, Jose Fernandez. You know, I was on air live when that happened. I was on Sirius XM Radio doing a show at the time. And, you know, in the age of the internet, in Twitter and stuff, you see things and you're like, okay, is this true? Can we believe this? We think, you know, crazy stuff. And luckily, my good pal Craig Mish, who does the pre and post games for the Marlins, who's tied into the team, I texted him. I was like, look, I can't go on air with this until, you know, somebody that I trust confirms this for me, that this actually happened. And he confirmed it for me. And it was such a weird, you know, just kind of, you know, just horrible. You know, he was so not only was he so talented, but he was so joyful when he pitched too. You know, it was like, you know, he was a guy that really loved it. You see guys who, you know, play baseball, don't always love it. There was an energy that he had that was really special. But Fernandez, that's a good one for sure. Big Dance, go back to them. Keeper round 6, Bregman, round 10, Jazz, or round 12, Butler. Well, it's Butler season, so he's about to get hot. It's July and August. There, he is the summer child, Lawrence Butler. My God. Probably 10 is the best bang for your buck here, but I don't love Jazz Chisholm. That's my problem.
I think I agree. Like, Jazz feels like the right answer, but the value with Butler... Butler over the next couple of years in that park could be a 30-20 guy, and Jazz could as well. But just there's a lot that comes with Jazz about like where is he going to play? Is he going to be on the field?
I don't like any. I want to trade.
Yeah, I think the answer might be Butler, honestly.
Maybe, I mean, he's the cheapest, but like it's not around 12 is still a good value, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Mitch, is Freddie Freeman a good buy low? I don't love it. I'll tell you why. I just think at this stage, and the longer a season goes on, the more concerned I am. Freddie Freeman's in his mid 30s now, okay? And Freddie Freeman has a lot of traction on those tires between the Dodgers and between the Braves. He's played 150 something games every year, and then he's playing a bunch of playoff games every year. He's got more tread than most. And you could see last year it caught up with him physically, and it's caught up with him now. I just think he is a player that is on the backside of his career. So it depends on how low you're getting him. If you're getting really low, okay. But I just don't think that that's necessarily possible either. There's another guy in the second round that I stayed away from this year because I had real legitimate concerns.
He's been quietly awful since the start of June. Like April and May, like he was unbelievably good. He might have been the MVP front runner through April and May, and then in June he had a 58 WRC plus with a 200 batting average. In July so far, yeah, it's a small sample size. It's a 45% strikeout rate. Like, I don't think he's toast. Like, I think that Freddie Freeman will rebound and be fine, but I also wouldn't mind getting out from under him and using that name value to get you back a second round value or something.
Agreed. Big Dance also has a question here about Mizorowski, Yuri, or Cam Smith as a keeper 10-team row.
Oh,
it's Yuri
man.
Perez for me, and I'll tell you why. It's the same thing I said on leading off today, and I know you probably edited that show. And it's an immediate response because he's already had his Tommy John. He's already had it. So Mizorowski's going to have it. What time is it? It's 4:28 p.m. on the East Coast here on the 9th of July. At some point, it's going to happen in the next year to two, and then you're not going to have him for a year to two. So give me the guy who's already had a schedule who is still, was Yuri Perez like 21? Like he's a child, Yuri Perez. How old is Yuri?
Yuri is he was born in 2003. He is 22 years old.
22. I think people forget about Yuri Perez.
And Mizorowski is about the same age. He's only a year older.
Hey, look, Mizorowski's super fun. You know, I get it. But I mean, do you have a different answer? I'd love to hear your response.
Man, if I could turn off injuries, then I'd take Mizorowski. But just based on what you said, like we are going to have to miss him for a year plus at some point. You can't throw 97-mile-an-hour sliders.
No, you can't.
It's not sustainable. The arm's not supposed to throw 97-mile-an-hour fastballs. When you're throwing 97-mile-an-hour sliders, like the kid's going to be great.
I'll tell you what, man. The spin rate, I think, is killing these pitchers. These guys are trying to spin the ball and all this stuff they're trying to do. I think it's putting extra torque on the elbows. I really do. This whole obsession with spin rate. How about you just move the ball up and down, left and right? How about you learn to change speeds? How about you learn how to get outs in the lineup? Learn the art of pitching, okay? Yeah. These kids are like, 15, 16 years old, and all anybody cares about is their spin right and their velo, and nobody's teaching these kids how to pitch. And that's why they can only go 5 innings, and that's why they all get hurt. I mean, it sucks, but, like, the art form of pitching is lost. It's very sad. And it's going to come back around. It's going to change.
I agree completely. I just think from the pitcher's standpoint, it makes sense for these young kids to prioritize the velo and the spin rates because that's what's going to get them paid. And I think a lot of these young guys will say, you know what, if I have to miss a year or I have to miss a couple of years, but I'm going to get that big contract versus I'm going to be sitting 95 with a 95 stuff rating. No one's going to care about me. I think they would rather take, as much as it sucks and it shouldn't have to be a binary choice like this, I think they would rather just be like, you know what, if I have to miss a year for injury, but I get the 9-figure contract, it's a worthy trade-off.
You know who's the poster boy for this conversation? Lucas Giolito. Because that is a guy who had Tommy John coming out of school as a kid, right? If you recall. Then he had another Tommy John. I want to see how much money he's made in his career. So he has made his contract terms. Let's see. There's got to be on Spot Track here. I'm looking. So he has made in his career now, payroll $19 million, career earnings $63 million. So yeah, you'll take a couple arm surgeries for that. Yeah. But what has Lucas Giolito given you in his career? He's given you what? Maybe one hot, good moment when he was with the White Sox. He's starting to turn things around right now for the Red Sox. He's running out of socks to wear at the end of the day.
Yeah.
He's the poster child for this.
He has a 4.38 career ERA and a 1.26 WHIP. If you look at that, you think
$69 million, $63 million.
So it's worth it for them.
Get it.
It's worth it for them, you know?
Yeah, but Giolito's he's the poster child case study. Had Tommy John already, and he's like, no, we're going to take him anyway. The Nationals like, screw it. Because remember, he was drafted by the Nationals.
Yep.
You know? What was that deal he was in? I'm trying to remember the Giolito trade. What was it?
Oh,
it was a big one. It was a big one where a big player coming over to the Washington Nationals from the White Sox. Why can't I remember who it was?
Let me pull this up.
All right, in the meantime, let's get Junior's question. Got offered Wheeler and Schwarber for Judge. Should I accept the trade? Wheeler and Schwarber for Judge is a pretty good value. You're getting a big bat, and you're getting one of the top 3 pitchers in baseball. If the rest of your offense is hurting, or I'm just saying, let me rephrase. If the rest of your offense is really good and your pitching is hurting, I'm okay with this trade. I don't love it because Judge is arguably the top 2 or 3 player, but it's decent value, the best kind of value you're going to get for a guy like Judge. What do you think, Joe?
I think I'm taking it. I think it's a very reasonable offer. Wheeler has been unbelievable. Like, he should win the Cy Young. I don't know if he's going to or not, but he should.
Better, because I bet on him preseason. It's 7-1. So
that's
Joey P's
really
going to make a nice coin on that if we get it.
He should win the Cy Young.
It's going to be a couple $100 there.
And regardless of the Cy Young, I mean, the production you're getting for a team with a good offense behind him, I think it is a worthy trade-off. I think I would accept that.
Seth found the trade. Here, I remember what it is now. I remember why it stuck out in my brain, because it was such an awful trade at the time. I thought it was horrible. It was Adam Eaton going to the Nationals. Adam Eaton, just a light-hitting, okay, whatever outfielder for Lucas Giolito, Reynaldo Lopez, and Dane Dunning. Yikes.
Jesus.
And it's funny because even Jeff Passan here with the tweet, this is a great poll here by Seth, because you got the Passan tweet in this article too, where it says, source confirms Adam Eaton to the Nationals for Giolito, Lopez, and Dunning. Wow, what a haul for the White Sox. Well, didn't really work out for anybody at the end of the day.
No, they won the trade, I would say, but yeah, nobody, well, yeah, it's what it is. It's whatever.
I remember thinking, they give up what for Adam Eaton? I don't know. William Acker, how do you feel about Freeman and Abrams points league? I feel fine about Abrams. Freeman in a points league, you know, again, fine. Joe talked about his struggles. Do I feel great about it? No. But points league is where I feel better than Roto, because I feel like that's where he's kind of hurt you. You know, Freeman's still, the hit tool for Freeman is still pretty good. But if you can do better, shop around. Van Rod, I'm trying to sell high on Riley Greene. What should I aim for? Oh, that's an interesting one. Could you get Julio Rodriguez back? Jackson Merrill?
I don't know if I don't even know if I would trade him for Merrill at this point. I think I might just take Riley Greene. Riley Greene's the number 7 outfielder for the season.
Julio or Riley Greene rest of season? I think Julio's the shooting the moon guy.
I think Riley Greene. I think it's better offense, better park. Not that Comerica's great.
Corey Seager or Riley Greene?
Riley Greene for me.
I would take Seager there, but I'm with Joe on the other one. Who would you drop? Would you drop Will Warren for Boyle or Sheehan? I don't think I want to drop Sheehan. I would drop him for Sheehan because the problem there is I think Sheehan's going to get replaced in these weeks ahead. Like I see him getting squeezed. Like where does he live?
That's the thing. As the Dodgers get healthier, it will be tougher. I would prefer to just hold on to Warren. I know that it's been a tough year for him surface stat wise, but everything below the surface is really, really good. The walks are a little bit too high. He's going to be somebody that I'm targeting a lot next year, I think. The stuff is good. The underlying numbers are really good. He doesn't allow a ton of hard contact, 8% barrel rate. He's the guy for me. He'd be the guy.
All right. Now, I know you're in a bunch of fantasy leagues because you're hanging out with us here on the show. So if you're trying to manage them all, maybe things aren't going so well. Have you tried my playbook? Well, you should, because it's available for free. FantasyPros.com/MLB My Playbook. Look, I know a lot of you are like, I don't need all these tools. Just trust me. Use the tools. Sync your leagues for free. It'll help you optimize your lineups. You can look for all the available players. You can set your lineups on the app from all the different sites of all the different places you're playing. It's a game changer. So go ahead, download FantasyPros.com/MLB My Playbook. Wherever you get your apps, go to MLB My Playbook. Look for it, download it, sync your leagues for free, and you can thank us later. Let's get to the next question here. What do we have up? Here we go. What happened to the Jamie Moyers pitching 80 miles an hour? They died out, you know. But Jamie Moyer, Jamie Moyer and knuckleball pitchers. They've died out. You don't see any of those anymore. All right, Jimbo has a question. What side do you take in Dynasty? Joe Ryan, Yohan Duran, or Chase Burns and Westberg? I want Duran and Ryan.
I think I would take that side too, but relievers in Dynasty with the guy like Duran who doesn't get a ton of saves anyway, I wouldn't fault anybody for going with the Burns and Westberg side, but I think the win now side is
pitching for the Phillies in a couple weeks, Joe.
The win now side is Joe Ryan. I think the Burns side would be what I would take if I'm rebuilding.
Well, that's okay. He's gonna have his Tommy John in a year or so too. So get ready. Daddy-daughter cards can only keep one. Show Manaea or Sheehan's. Manaea, he's got a spot in the rotations. Again, this is not close, guys. I know Sheehan's fun. I like it. I'm the OG Sheehan guy 2-3 years ago. I was the guy telling you, hey, this kid Sheehan striking out everybody in the minor leagues. And he was an A-ball at the time. And then he moved to AA, and I was like, hey, everybody, this guy Sheehan's just striking out everybody. Like, we should pay attention to him. And then he got hurt. He had Tommy John, and it's been a while, so people are forgetting. But he's going to get squeezed. You still got Snell coming back, too. So unless he's going to take over for Dustin May, which I don't know if they want to make that move, they can justify it. I don't think they will.
I wish they would make that move. I
don't sold that they will, because you got Yamamoto's not going anywhere. You've got Glasnow back now. You got Ohtani. You got Kershaw. That's 4. So it's Dustin May, and eventually Blake Snell's coming back, and then Dustin May gets bounced for Blake Snell. Hiroki Sasaki is not showing his face again this year. I can tell you that.
No.
That was my other biggest fade of the year too, and I am so happy that I did. I
took a huge whiff on that one. That was really bad for me. That
Let's
was
talk
one of my worst.
Talk about the Sheehan thing, and then I want to talk about Sasaki, because I'm curious, because I'd love to share like our counterpoints on Sasaki for a second here going into the year. So Sheehan or Manaea for you?
I guess it's Manaea, but I don't feel great about the production I'm going to get out of Manaea either.
Oh man, he was pretty good last year.
He was
strikeouts. I mean, Jesus.
He was.
He was all right.
But I think that he also was a little bit fortunate to have the results he had last year. I don't know that that's who we can expect every year from Manaea. I mean, we have a pretty good track record of Manaea being like a, mid-4s guy. Is he going to be able to maintain the mid-3 ERA? He might.
On the Mets, don't you know that's where all pitchers go to resume their careers and revitalize themselves? I mean,
I'll take Manaea. But I don't feel great about it.
All right. Now, Roki Sasaki, when I wrote him up in the Black Book this year, my big, and by the way, Black Book for football right here, but it's out there. Go buy it on Amazon. Go get your Black Book. Say, there you go. Joe Orrico contributed to the Black Book as well for baseball. My big thing when I watched Roki Sasaki was I just thought he had a long way to go before he's a finished pitcher. And I thought they would have served better for him acclimating to major leagues to actually start him in AAA. And my fear was the amount that they were paying him was going to exasperate his arrival time, and it did. They forced him, I think, a little bit too much. And although he's a bigger kid than Yamamoto, right, size-wise, he's much bigger. Like, Yamamoto's kind of a little guy. I was really concerned with the frame. I was concerned with, again, adjusting to Major League Baseball. And I just saw a pitcher who had a lot of fun potential, but not somebody that was polished enough. And that was my big concern. What was the things that you got excited about? Was it just the numbers in Japan? And because the numbers were very good, I get it. But he was still very young for those numbers, too. That was what was troubling for me.
I think the numbers in Japan are pretty much what sold me. If you look at every year, they are 227, 202, 178, 235. These are the ERAs. Strikeout minus walk rates were between 20 and 30%. And in 2023 was 35% strikeout minus walk rate. The numbers over there were fantastic. And I kind of just read into it blindly thinking, okay, we're going to get like a Yamamoto type season. A lot of the reports were that he's better than Yamamoto. He's younger than him. He's going to pitch for the best team in baseball. So I read too much into the Japanese stats, probably. What I should have looked at more is there was a report that came out, I think it was in January or so, that Sasaki said, yeah, they recommended I have Tommy John surgery last year. And I think a lot of people kind of brushed by that.
That's right.
And it's like, well, maybe we should have paid more attention to that. And also the fastball, because the fastball is not a good pitch. I mean, as great as the other pitches are, specifically, it's been so long since I watched him pitch. It's the splitter, right? Yeah, it's the splitter that was just phenomenal for him. Yeah, but if you have nothing to play off of, if the fastball doesn't work, his fastball had a 78 stuff rating this year. That is like unbelievably bad. Mm-hmm. So I think that he is a guy who will eventually be fine, but maybe he does need that surgery. And I'm not sure if next year is the year to buy in. I think Sasaki might be a 2027 guy. 2027, 2028. Yeah,
And
I'll probably be
his
in.
ADP, it's funny because I didn't like it when it started and then it rose. And I was like, I was out to begin with. And then when I saw it rise, I was like, good, let somebody else make a massive mistake like that. Because they were putting him ahead of guys like Hunter Brown in ADP. I'm like, how can you do that after what Hunter Brown did in the major leagues last year? I think our infatuation with the new sometimes really, as a fantasy community overall, and the same thing happens in NFL too. Like, I love the rookies. There's a lot of rookies I'm really excited about. There's a threshold where I will not draft certain guys when they go past a certain point because, again, it takes a while for these guys to acclimate to the big leagues. But this is an interesting discussion too. I'm glad we're talking about it because I think, for all of us, and I've taken my hits on guys too plenty of times. We all do. But, Roki was a guy that I was like, okay, Dynasty, I'm interested. Redraft, no way. Not at that ADP. It was crazy. I'm trying to remember where it got to, like, absurd places too. And Yamamoto's did the year before too, when I was like, that's just too expensive.
Sasaki, I think the highest I saw him go, and I could probably check, but like NFBC drafts were like unbelievably high picks for Sasaki, like
Was he
third
top 20?
round. I don't think he
Yeah.
ever got to the third round. Let me just quickly do a
He was like
check.
a top 20 pitcher though, which was
Dodgers,
absurd.
Sasaki. So the minimum pick amongst all NFBC drafts this year was 19th overall.
Oh,
It was the highest he went in any draft, and there's a
he's
lot
not
of
even a top 20 pitcher, let alone a top 20 player. That's insane.
his
Wow.
ADP rounded out to about 100, but it was substantially higher at certain points. Right when he signed, there's a lot of dots that are 37, 38, 23, 53, 50. Like, he was expensive. I paid the premium a couple times. Oh man, am I glad I have DeGrom on those teams.
Yeah, he's bailed you out. Would you flip Goldschmidt for Cease in a heartbeat? 100%.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Dominguez or Merrill in keeper process going forward? I still like Jackson Merrill as a player more than
Me
Dominguez
too.
personally.
I'm not a
that
big-
one's not close for me. I'm not a Dominguez guy either.
I'm not a Dominguez guy. I did a spot the other day I did a guest spot on a show, and now who are you fading in the second half? I said Jason Dominguez, and he hit 2 home runs that night. So I felt like a big fat idiot. But at the same
That's
time,
perfect time to trade him. I mean,
6 of those home runs have come in 2 games this year. The speed has been all right, but he's striking out a lot. Like, I don't know with him.
the
He's
baseball
kind of
savant page for him is not good.
he's a troubling eval for me because he hits the crap out of the ball, but also it hasn't really led to much. The launch angle's gotten better, but at the same time, he has a 28% strikeout rate, and I don't know. I think there are brighter days ahead for him, but
Dude,
I'm taking Merrill.
His expected slugging is 397. His expecting batting average is 244. You're absolutely right. He's absolutely a guy you should be fading. I'm sorry. Would you trade Butler for Mizorowski?
It depends on team need. I'd probably prefer Butler in a vacuum just because rookie pitcher with command issues, you never know what that's going to look like down the stretch. But I could understand it if you need pitching. I think it's fair.
Drop Mickey Moniak for Max Muncy.
That's a deep league question. I might, but Moniak has been really good, like surprisingly very good. He's like an 840 OPS.
I don't believe in either player, but
I don't
say
either.
this: if Jacob Wilson goes, I don't know, did we get results on his hand from yesterday? He got hit.
I don't think
if he goes to the IL and they got to start moving guys around the infield, and once he plays more, maybe. Like, here's one: keep Sheehan or stash Chandler. Sheehan, I think, because God knows when or if you're even going to get Chandler, and you could always have another injury to the Dodgers rotation. That's certainly not something the Dodger rotation is immune to. Rest of season: Ranger Suarez or Seth Lugo. Ooh, that's a tough one for me. I like both of those guys. My gut says Ranger Suarez, but I think Seth Lugo is going to get traded. And if he gets traded to the Mets or the Yankees or one of those teams, Seth Lugo would be the answer.
Yeah, Ranger's been really. If you ask Mike Marin,
great.
Ryan Wormley, I know who they would tell you because those guys talk about Ranger on the cycle like every week. But I think it's close. But Lugo, I think a trade would really unlock something there if he goes to a contender. I read the Blue Jays talked about as a potential team. So I think it is Lugo, but it's close.
Can Agustin Ramirez win the NL Rookie of the Year? Unlikely, but not impossible. It would take a Mizorowski injury, I think, at this point. You think Mizorowski has big starts against the Dodgers, striking out a million guys. Like,
is he going to have the innings, though?
I don't think he needs it.
Because look how great
recognition.
Because remember Strider a couple of years ago was so brilliant as a rookie, and then Michael Harris won Rookie of the Year. I feel like they will defer to position players more than pitchers, but
I don't think Mizorowski is going to be. I think he's going to be pitching. I think that's going to be a race all the way to the end, and they're going to be using him. So,
yeah,
I just think the public profile is so huge right now. So
yeah,
yesterday Rooker was or J-Rod rest of season.
Brent Rooker for me.
Yeah,
What do you
J
think?
Rod's been a disappointment. Would Gallen to New York Yankees or Mets be a good fit? I'll tell you what, I'd feel better as a fantasy manager if we went to the Mets because the Mets have a magic touch right now with these guys.
Yeah.
All these problem children. Like, when you think about it, I mean, it's kind of crazy. Shohei, you said it. He's a mid-fours pitcher, whatever. He comes to New York last year, and he's brilliant. And he's brilliant in big games on top of it. 184 strikeouts. Luis Severino, a renaissance in his career. It's funny, his stats, he's got a 7 ERA in that ballpark this year and a 3 ERA on the road. I mean, it's just madness. Somebody should go. I mean, the Mets should just bring back Severino. Just do it. I mean, the problem is they don't want to pay that contract. I get it. Because the A's overpaid him. So that's the big, unless the Athletics took some of that contract, which I don't think the Athletics are going to do, they're stuck right now. But look at what they did with Griffin Canning this year, with Clay Holmes this year. With David Peterson for the last 2 years. I mean,
McGill.
Look, even Kodai Senga to a certain degree. Look, the Mets have a secret sauce there. They know what they're doing. They know how to get the most out of these guys and how to build their confidence. Boyle, Sheehan, Giolito, pick 2. I'll take Giolito. Boyle's really intriguing to me because I think Drew Rasmussen is tapping out soon.
Following the opener, like that role as a follower is such a windfall. I can't even speak. You're going to get a lot of wins getting Joe Boyle coming in the second or third inning. As long as he's not walking 17 guys like we've seen from him in the past, I think Boyle's the second name there with Giolito. You see this question here?
What, the chimichanga question? I've had a chimichanga since the last time we spoke. No, I did have a burrito enchilada style, though. Last weekend, I did. Or 2 weekends ago. 2 weekends ago, I did, which was awesome. I have a great little Mexican place near me. Shout out to Mr. Cactus. Fantastic place. Family-owned place. They got 2 restaurants in the local area. Fantastic Mexican food.
I've never had a chimichanga. But somebody asked this question when I was on with Welsh recently, too. But the one that I was looking at, Joe, was this one.
What, Mize or Christ? Mizorowski for now, because he's available to pick up.
Over Jesus?
Well, I'm not gonna make any more jokes. There's so many jokes. I'm gonna futter. Because I got all these jokes. There you go. Parker Lee has a question here. Do you guys believe Buxton can stay healthy, or is it time to trade him and run? I'll tell you what. I'd put him on the block and see what I could get. And if I could get something for real, I'm good with it. But maybe this is just the year. And of course, it's the 1 year Welsh is out on Buxton, which makes it so much sweeter because every single year I got to watch Welsh twist in the wind. He talks about, this is the year. It's January, it's February, it's March. This is it. And then he gets hurt. Royce Lewis is the sad one, though. That's the one that's been just super sad.
I think with Buxton, like I put him in a trade short that I do on Fridays. I put him in one a couple weeks ago. I think it's wise to look into trading him. Not to say that you just get rid of him for, Colton Cows or for anything. But if somebody's offering you a top 50 player for Buxton, I would take it.
Cody wants to know about my Saturday wrestling watching. Well, it's Evolution, right, this weekend? And you get the Saturday night main event this weekend. It's all happening this weekend, I believe. AEW's big event, too. I watch everything on Sunday, more likely. Saturday, I work. I do in-game live on the Sports Grid Network, so I'll be doing a couple hours there. And I think I'm going to go see the Superman movie because I love James Gunn. Now, I'm not a DC guy. I'm not a big Superman guy. But I love James Gunn. I love the Guardians films. I love Peacemaker. The series is so good. He is definitely my sense of humor and sensibility. Always great music in the films, great feel, great humor. Are you going to go see the Superman movie this weekend or what?
I might see it eventually. I don't know. I'm not a big superhero. Like I like the Nolan Batman movies.
Oh, look at
but
this. I love the Nolan Batman movies too.
Oh, Rangers, you are my new best friend.
Yeah. The third one is a little too long. The third one, it got a little too long. Still
the
great,
Dark Knight. I could watch The Dark Knight at any point. If I see it on TV and it's 2 hours in, I'll throw it on. Like that Heath Ledger performance, I think is like the best I've ever seen.
It's one of the great films ever. Forget comic books. It's one of the great films ever.
Yes.
It's just awesome. And I'll tell you what, Oppenheimer is spectacular. If you haven't seen Oppenheimer,
I saw it twice. So good.
Me too. It's so good.
Phenomenal.
One of the greatest films ever made, period, end of story. So I'm excited about The Odyssey because The Odyssey I did not like as a book when they made me read it. But maybe, just maybe, Christopher Nolan can get me to like it.
Homer?
Yeah, they're
Odyssey?
doing it. Yeah, Matt Damon's in it.
How did I miss that?
Holland's in it. They're filming it now. It's a big deal.
Huh.
Big production. Huge cast. Everybody's in that movie. Anyone who's anyone. Let's get to some more of the questions here. Drop Tommy Edman. Oh, everybody wants to drop Tommy Edman now, huh? I thought you guys loved Tommy Edman. I thought this was the safe place for Tommy Edman. Edman or Profar to get Bregman back? Who's the odd man out for you?
I'm not a Profar guy. I don't know. I know he had a couple homers when he came back. I just look at the track record. I look at the PEDs. I personally, I would probably drop Profar.
I don't know, man. I'm keeping him. I'm keeping Profar. Bye, Tommy Edman. He's just not special.
I get it. I think it's just the Dodgers lineup for me keeps him interesting.
Cody says, I want Gunter to choke out Goldberg. Me too, or Oldberg, yes. I can't stand. I couldn't stand Goldberg when he was the hottest thing in WCW. I can't stand him now. He's almost 60. He's 58 years old. He gets winded, like, just talking. And, like, good credit to him that he's trying to do this. But, like, his matches sucked in WCW. Like, I was never... no, God. WCW back in the day was only good for the Cruiserweight division, period. There you go. NWO was cool for, like, a hot minute for, like, 6 months. And then after that, I got bloated and stupid. But it was cool for, like, 6 months. And then after that, it's the Eddie Guerrero's and Chris Jericho's and the Dean Malenko matches and the Rey Mysterio stuff. That's the stuff that WCW was really good. Here's the Odyssey cast, by the way. Matt Damon, Tom Holland, John Bernthal from The Bear, and many other things. Zendaya, Robert Pattinson, very good actor. Anne Hathaway, Charlize Theron. I mean,
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of Oscars. That's a lot of Oscars.
Corey Hawkins is in it. A lot of quality people here.
Okay.
So
I'll give it a go.
It's going to be
and
good.
It's a Nolan movie? It's a Nolan movie?
It's a Nolan epic. He's like this is like
Okay.
it's his Odyssey, so to speak. So
You talked me into it.
Where's Welsh? Welsh is busy today. That's where Welsh is. He has a life. He gets
Welsh
an
went to work
afternoon.
for John Boy.
Where's that? I don't even see.
The most recent comment, Welsh went to go work for John Boy.
I don't know if he could fit in there. I don't know.
No, it's not his scene. That's not Welsh's scene, I don't think. This is his scene.
I think I would work there before he would. I feel like this is more his thing. Yeah. That's very funny though. I was low-key mad when Goldberg returns. He's just, like I said, he's been back a bunch of times too. The best Goldberg match is the best Goldberg match ever is in Saudi Arabia when he gets a concussion before he comes out and he is completely blacked out, doesn't know where he is. Undertaker's trying to call the spots. They're both 100 years old, and it is just the biggest, just most embarrassing turd of a match you'll ever see. And it feels like it goes on for 20 minutes, but it only goes on for like 2. But it is hysterical because clearly he is concussed and he can't do anything. But he self-concussed himself. He like hit his head to go all hyped up to pretend to be an athlete. Like, what are you doing? You're playing a part. Stop being such a method actor. Ugh. God, he's the worst. I hate Goldberg. I do want to see him get
Tell us how you really feel.
He's just always the worst. He's so bad. And Gunther I love. And he's got to carry his ass. Ugh. Ridiculous. All right, Mitch's question. When Christian Walker comes back, I'll drop one of Andrew Vaughn or Yoel Moncada. Which one of these two has a better upside?
Christ.
None. Zero. Zero. Miedo. Drop them both. They both stink. Use your waiver somewhere else. Because Andrew Vaughn's going to lose playing time when Reese Hoskins comes back.
Yeah, I would drop Moncada first, but with Vaughn, I've always liked Vaughn, and I think he'll eventually have a couple of good seasons. But yeah, like Joe said, just these guys are both waiver wire fodder, unless it's like a 20-team league. Let's
get Keith's question here because he's getting antsy in the chat. I see you, Keith. Is it smart to play 2 ace players every day? Jacob Wilson, Nick Kurtz. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Should I sacrifice body bet? No. Look, playing good players is the key to winning fantasy baseball.
Yes.
Good players sometimes get clustered on good teams. I would play Wilson over Swanson. I would play Wilson over... Look, Willie Adames, I'm still hoping has a good second half, but it's getting kind of dark in those streets right now. Here we go. This is the last question of the day because we got to end this. Tommy Edman or Goldberg? Tommy Edman. Way more useful. Joe Orrico, do you want to weigh in on this?
I don't even know what you guys are talking about with the wrestling stuff.
You know who Goldberg is. You know who Stone Cold Steve Austin is in The Rock. He's like a big iconic wrestling figure.
I know the names. I know Rey Mysterio and taking the mask off and John Cena, but I'm like so ignorant about wrestling. I'm ignorant about most things.
And you
Wrestling.
call yourself Canadian.
I call myself Canadian. And you know what? I mean, we jinxed the Blue Jays. They just lost to the White Sox. My God.
Well, that's okay. It's still here in our heart. So if you want to watch more baseball with us and talk about more baseball with the channel, the best way to do it is to go to our Twitch, twitch.tv/FantasyPros. That's the place to be. Monday through Friday, noon Eastern time. We're there doing leading off every single day. So go subscribe, go follow us on Twitch. Have yourself some fun. You should also make sure that you sync your leagues for free at My Playbook. Use the tools at fantasypros.com/MLB My Playbook or download the My Playbook app for fantasy baseball today, wherever you get your apps. And of course, drop your comments below, like the stream, ring the bell till it goes ding, and subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB. And you could win the Juan Gonzalez auction jersey from Pristine Auction, autographed by Juan Gonzalez himself. Right here, we're giving it away. This is the July giveaway here at Fantasy Pros MLB. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Joe, I'm Joe. We'll see you next time, kids. How can you be a good Canadian and not watch wrestling? That's crazy.
I don't watch anything anymore. It's all baseball, all baseball, a little bit of football, and living in the production room.
You do the CFL?
Jesus, the CFL.